Welcome, everybody. I'm Danny Garcia, the campus pastor here at Grace Christian University, and you are listening to the Courageous Ambassador podcast. Each and every episode, we invite professors, pastors, leaders, and ministry servants to explore what it means to reflect Christ in their unique roles and calling. Today, we have a very special guest, someone who's meaningful to me in my life. He actually officiated mine and my wife's wedding and did our marriage counseling. This man is a mentor of mine, very close to me and my family. He's a graduate of Grace Bible College back in 1998 and graduated from the University of Notre Dame, where he studied moral theology and Christian ethics. He's been a faculty member at Grace since 2005, where he's taught courses in Bible, theology, philosophy, and ethics, and has recently stepped in as the provost. We have Dr. Matthew Loverin here to welcome us. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you have some interest in theology and such as Karl Barth, postmodern theology, philosophy, different stuff such as cultural media, ethics in America, things like that. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to jump into all the stuff. We're going to discuss ethics, AI, the whole nine. Whatever pops up, and we're going to dive deep into it. But I want to start with your journey. So you came here as a theology professor. That's kind of what you went to school for, and got your doctorate in, your PhD, and now you've stepped into this new role as provost. What was that journey like? What made you want to pursue teaching, and then also what made you want to pursue stepping into this new position as well?
Yeah, thanks for that, Danny. Thanks for the intro. It's really good to be here. I came to Grace as an adjunct professor in 2005, and my wife, Michelle, was the women's residence director. So we lived in the apartment attached to the women's dorm there in the quad. We lived there for 3 years, and then we lived up in the Blackburn house behind the chapel for a number of years. And then when she was ready to step away and be a full-time mom, we bought a house in the neighborhood, and so we lived around here. And alongside that journey, I've kind of increased my role as an adjunct professor. So I became full-time in 2009 and kind of moved from assistant professor to associate professor to full professor. And then during that time, I also worked as a director of assessment. I also worked as the dean of the graduate school, beginning our first master's degree program in about 2015. And then took a little hiatus doing some different things, still teaching on campus, but I stepped away for half a year or so. Maybe a sabbatical is one way to think of it, but I was still teaching in the classroom. And then came back to be the dean of the School of Bible and Ministry. That was kind of right around the COVID years, where I just needed a little bit more leadership structure, not just in Bible and ministry, but in the whole university. So we kind of created that dean role. And so was leading not just on-campus students, but online students as well, and grad students in ministry. And then just recently picked up the provost role. So it's been a very eventful journey. Like the roles seem to change every couple of years as I've made that 20-year journey.
I know you just stepped into this higher education AI council, correct?
Yes.
I just heard about that, so congratulations. What's the talk? What's the talk of the town with the AI council?
There is a lot going on, and it's really picking up steam. In fact, I'm while we're meeting right now, while we're recording this, there's a 3-day for 3 hours a day, live AI, how to AI session, how to multiply your impact. And it's a free thing. Wow. It's how to save 15 hours a week, for your business or for your life by implementing AI in all these ways. So that stuff is out there. It's just, and you probably see it in your ads when you scroll through social media. How do you click this to learn how to AI in whatever way, 3 minutes a day or whatever. So yes, Dr. Scott Shaw and I, Scott Shaw is our associate provost, have been appointed to this national council on higher education and AI use. And so we're really excited because it includes a lot of really like big universities.
Mhm.
So Florida State is on there, Harvard, Columbia, Cal State, and Grand Valley State, locally here in West Michigan. And really, we're super excited to represent like a faith-based higher education perspective,
Yeah.
even a biblical higher education perspective. When I looked at the list of participants, there's over 70 universities. When I looked at the participants, I didn't see another faith-based institution.
Wow.
So it was kind of exciting to be, I don't know, named, volunteered. I'm not sure how we got on the list, but we got on the list.
You're there.
On it,
And I told someone today it was like Indiana Jones, like rolling under the door and like grabbing his hat at the last minute.
Yes.
Like we snuck in there somehow. But we hope to make a good contribution to represent like faith and a biblical perspective on human life, what it means to be created in the image of God, what it means to recognize the dangers of any technology because we're fallen creatures in the image of God. We're going to always misuse technology and make technology in a way that tries to glorify ourselves and idolize ourselves as opposed to God, to really worship God as he's meant to be worshiped. And we hope to learn a lot as well about implementation of AI and what that can look like in the classroom, for student services, for like university processes and administration. Really, there's a lot of different. It's complex. Higher ed's very complex, and AI can make a difference in a lot of those areas. It's something like 95% of higher ed leaders agree that AI is important and needs to like influence what we're doing, but 2.5% of universities have actually implemented anything. So there's a big gap and there's a big need there, and it's only gonna like the intensity of that's gonna only ramp up.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's challenges to that with like figuring out what ways to use it and implement it that are going to be beneficial, and then what ways that they could be a hindrance to education because allowing shortcuts and like not incentivizing study work and going out of your way to read or write a paper, things like that. So
yeah, where you see that in the classroom is like most obviously, a student doesn't have to read a book anymore. Yeah, they can just input a prompt and say, give me a summary of this book. And what your AI large language model will do is search the whole internet, and it'll search like maybe the text of the book itself is on the internet. Maybe there's a bunch of Amazon or Google reviews of the book. It's going to search Goodreads. It's going to like look at all of this, and it's going to do it in a fraction of a second, and it's going to give you like a pretty accurate summary of the book. So you don't have to read the book anymore. Now, you don't get the experience of reading the book. You don't get the whole experience of like wrestling with an argument or finding the important bits or falling asleep reading the book. And you remembered, oh, I fell asleep in that chair reading that book. It was like such a great book. That's a joke. Some books do make you sleepy, depending on the time.
I've actually never fallen asleep reading a book.
Really?
You have to read a book, Danny.
I've never read a book before in my life. So.
That was low.
You've only read really good books.
It was too easy.
It was too easy.
I've looked at books. I've seen picture books and coloring books.
Read to your child.
Now, that's for book reading, book summaries, but we also can like respond to a prompt. You can respond to the prompt of a paper. You can have it generate a paper, but you can also like have what's maybe a more legitimate use, and you can like have AI or Grammarly like correct your paper and like make those little adjustments that clean up your writing. And so that I feel like has been around for a long time. Microsoft Word would like underline it in red for a spell check, or underline it in blue if you wanted to, make a little grammatical change. I just saw Scott Shaw shared with me today a new upgrade that's coming to Grammarly. It's not going to be Grammarly anymore. Did you hear about this?
I have not.
You know what it's going to be called?
What?
It's going to be called Superhuman Go.
What?
It's not Grammarly anymore. It's a whole new set of writing tools. Yeah. And you're just going to go. And you're going to be
superhuman.
And you're going to be superhuman when you go.
Wow. I feel like we could workshop that one a little more.
It sounds like a game. Like it sounds like a
I think they're targeting the 6th graders though.
Right, for real.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, I mean, the 20-somethings might be a little savvy to that, but the sixth graders are going to be like,
superhuman
go. Press that go button.
Yeah.
We're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like today's advanced,
Mm-hmm.
like what's happening now. And it's going to increase like that exponentially for the next 5 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, how does higher ed respond to that?
Yeah.
And we really think that here at Grace, we're in a good position because of our biblical worldview and our commitment to transformational relationships, that we want to make this a place where, okay, there's AI and it's out there and you can use it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to like forbid it or anything,
Mm-hmm.
because that's another extreme, is you could just reject all of the technology.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you'll have a market
Right.
for your students anymore, because they're going to be immersed in that world of technology.
They're going to have to get used to it.
Yeah.
Kind of like we were talking about before. It's like not necessarily like guarding yourself and like, not like facing the truth and the reality of what's going on in the world, but knowing the tools and how to use them effectively and
correctly.
Yeah, use them correctly so that you can actually get something from that.
Yeah, from a kingdom standpoint, and somehow one of the values that we bring is to be created in the image of God, and to be fallen and to be redeemed, and God's putting us back together, and we live in a world where there's technology, and what does it look like to use that technology redemptively? I don't want to shortcut my humanity or short circuit my humanity. I want to like take advantage of the tools that are there. What does that look like to do ethically?
Yeah,
in a way that's faithful to Jesus.
So like we're trying to move towards that direction in with our institution, and like I'm sure that you have some like ideas of what are some opportunities that we can use to bring AI into the classroom.
I have ideas.
Could you share some of those ideas?
I want to hear from a current student.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your experience so far? What do you see in your colleagues or your own use?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn into the host now.
Yeah, take over.
I think the scariest thing to me is just that it's just this open resource where it's really relying on and counting on an individual's self-control and integrity to not abuse this tool. And so I think I'm kind of with you. Like, even I transferred from a school before this, a community college, and there, like, I had no clue about any AI, anything. Like, and for a long time, I would hear about ChatGPT, and I was like, "Chat what? Like, what are we talking about?" And I just didn't realize. I mean, I've used it now. I mean, I think everybody has in one way or another. But for a long time, I didn't really know what it was. And then as I learned about it, and now, like, fast forward to today, it's like literally the amount of students I've spoken to. And then I'm just going to use chat for that. And every time I'm like, this is your choice. I'm going to encourage you to not, but that's your choice. So I think that's like opened my eyes to like how many people use and eventually rely on chat for things that I don't think are good things to be relying on. Yeah. We need to be able to learn how to like understand writing a paper. I would say.
Okay. That's perfect.
I think we need to be able to know how to think, and like we need to know how to like read a complicated piece of writing and like digest it and like come up with our own thoughts. And that's crazy that you even saying that. Like, obviously we should have those essential skills, but Prof Salt now used to be Prof G.
Is that what it is now? Well, Prof
that's
Salt?
what she's going by. Yes, Prof Salt. We've talked a lot about AI. She's very anti-AI, and she makes some really good points about, because I'm not as anti as her. Like, I think you can use it correctly, but she makes a lot of good points about you're really like you're shortcutting this whole entire process. You were saying like what it means to be human is like to go through this learning process, and it's something I've thought a lot about, and I've talked to some students about to try to kind of help them understand like why maybe we shouldn't do this. Is like the point of, if I'm assigned a paper, the point is not to write the paper. Like, the point is not the final product. The point is that process of learning the materials and having to wrestle through, how do I answer the prompt of this paper, and how do I connect maybe some Old Testament, New Testament, what the message of Scripture is overall. How do I format my argument? How do I make it make sense? Like, those are essential skills we should have.
Yeah.
And if we're just like putting it through chat, we think, oh, I did the paper. But like, the point was not the paper. The point was never the paper.
Yeah.
The point was the process of learning and thinking and growing. And so, yeah, I think the best thing I've heard about like how to use chat was Kyle Bay said, use chat like a smart friend. You wouldn't make your friend do your homework.
Yeah.
But you might ask your friend, could you proofread this for me? And let me know what you think. I would say, again, I'm not anti-AI, but I would say an even better way would just be go to a real smart friend in real life because it builds community, builds relationships. So I would say it's a very real struggle. I wish it were limited, to be honest, because people do not have self-control. Like,
there's like those skills outside of like the learning process that are helping form or not form, and like when you're going through that process. Like for example, I when you're talking about that, it made me think of like time management and how like I'm gonna be honest, I've used ChatGPT a few times, and sometimes I've used it in a way where I'm like, oh, I'm in a pinch. I need to get something done. Where like whether it's like a like short prompt or a question or whatever it may be, and I need to like go to like need some insight, or like I need a quick Bible verse for something, so I need a quick insight. It's a helpful tool, but that doesn't necessarily help time management. I'm sure like when students
it incentivizes poor time management.
Exactly. And so like, it becomes a crutch. I'm sure students also experience that, where it's like, I've done this before, and that was super easy. So then I have this like thing I can fall back on if I ever get in that little situation.
Yeah.
So one of the things you're seeing is professors moving away from assignments that can be used in that way to whether it's poor time management or whether it's planning all along for the AI to write your paper for you, taking the professor's prompt, whatever that might be, that can be a page-long assignment prompts, and plugging that in, and it can be pretty. I mean, I've seen students in an online environment, like for a personal response to a devotional, or when you have to do the reply, when you do the reply to someone else, it's like, write this as if I were saying it from the first person, and it sounds like AI, but it's like weirdly like theirs. Like tell a story about when I was a kid and I broke my arm, and like it'll just make a whole thing. So it's not just for the big assignments, it's for the small assignments, for the reflective assignments, and some of that we really want. Like we think that reflection is super valuable for how people apply the Bible and how they like have life transformation. And so we don't want them to skip that. So that's why you're seeing professors move to things like interviews or video presentations or live presentations or discussions where you're not going to see tests anymore. You're not going to see long paper assignments, even though those are valuable for the education process. You're going to see the whole education process almost reverse. And here's what I mean by that is like we talk about higher level thinking skills and lower level thinking skills. This is Bloom's taxonomy. If you've ever done any like education psychology or anything like that, lower level thinking skills are at the bottom. This is like, you know how to do a matching test, or you can like guess the definition of a word. Like, do you like know, identify, remember, understand? That's at the bottom. And then you go up to like can I actually put this in my own words? Do I have an understanding of it so that I can like think more clearly about that very specific concept? Or maybe compare contrast might be another way of doing it. But then you want to apply your knowledge, and then you want to analyze, and you want to critique, and then like you want to eventually do at the top of the pyramid is like create a new, like create something of your own that shows that you really understand this concept. So like a science project is a great example. Like you create the experiment to test your hypothesis. It's like the whole thinking skills are on display there. Well, now what's happening with AI is you create a prompt. You're creating something at the very beginning, and that like is
the top of the pyramid.
That's the lowest level of thinking now.
Right.
Write me a paper. Okay, bottom of the pyramid. So okay, great. You made the AI write a paper. Now, can you like analyze, evaluate whether that's a good paper or not? Student doesn't know whether that's a good paper or not. So we're taking the pyramid and we're inverting it. We're making it upside down.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned like the conglomeration of like the student's voice and AI's voice, and it's like AI speaks the same language, and it doesn't matter like whether like you try to tweak it or not. It's pretty, if you know what you're looking for, it's pretty obvious that AI is working itself in some way. If you
that's
try
true.
to like shift it,
that's true right now. It was like even more obvious like a year ago. It's less obvious now.
Really?
And in another year, we probably won't be able to tell the difference between AI voice and human voice. That difference will be gone.
Wow.
Because the AI will be so powerful.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we already have the problem of AI humanizers. Maybe Stephanie's heard about them, where you like have chat make your paper, and then you take it over to this other AI and you say, make this sound more human, so it doesn't trigger all of the AI detectors. And then it becomes really, really hard for a professor to know whether students are learning anything. Right. And then you really have to ask the question, why have higher ed at all?
Yeah. Do you know from like a student perspective, like what's the atmosphere, the temperature of students and their relationship with like AI that you're hearing with your peers?
Yeah, I would say a lot of people nice and cozy. They're besties with chat.
Okay.
I would say a lot more people use it than I ever expected or thought. Especially as a writing, I'm one of like the writing tutors you can book me for like a paper review.
Shout out,
book me, fund me. And I was hanging out with some girl, all of them needed help, so I was like, I'll just come over, like we'll just all like work on papers, we'll talk about it. And the amount of times it was just chat, and I was just like, I'm trying to like not be that person, but so I just kept saying, they were like, do you think that's okay? I was like, I would discourage it, but like it is up to you. I was like, I would encourage you to like use X, Y, and Z sources. Like then I can proofread it for you. So I would say, just to be honest, a lot of students use it. For myself, I have to honestly pretty much not use it at all, because I think for me it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody has put something in the chat. As soon as you put something in, it responds like with the next step. Like, you want me to da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So say you say like, oh, give me Bible verses for this paper prompt. It's like, here are the verses. Do you want me to give you an outline? And then you say yes. And it's like, do you want me to just write it for you? And then you say yes. And now suddenly you're like, why would I spend time writing a paper when this is here? I try to just stay away, because honestly, I don't trust myself.
I love your description of that experience. Then you should know that a year or 2 years ago, it was not doing that. So these are like new iterations. So, I just listened this past week to the latest Elon Musk, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He's saying like, in 5 to 7 years, like, you're not going to have a phone. You won't need a phone. You won't need a watch. You won't need a device, because like you're just going to goggle in or whatever. We'll all be wearing those fancy goggles. And like, you're just going to like, it's going to know what you want. Like, oh, you're sitting down in your desk chair. Oh, you must want a paper to be written. Like, I see you open these books. Like,
let me absorb.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. You're not going to need to work anymore.
Yeah.
Like, unless you choose to work, unless you choose to do that kind of work. So, your description of that experience of more. Just an idea for a paper.
Right.
What are the verses? Like, where would I look in the Bible for those verses? And then what would you like me to write the paper for you? That whole experience is going to be exponentially sped up. You're going to be a superhuman.
Superhuman go.
You're going to go. Yes.
And it goes back to that human experience that it's beginning to like dull out, and you're no longer going to actually be like engage in like things that
we don't even need to think anymore.
Exactly. And your life becomes like easier, but like it doesn't become more meaningful. It doesn't become more full. You don't grow.
That's what we want to focus on, though. Yeah. So in that world that we're kind of envisioning, and it's really easy to envision like all of the ways that would be awful for people. There's still going to be people. They're still going to be around. And so how do we create an environment that's still a learning environment that students can thrive and flourish and grow despite the use of all of these tools? So the education that we offer is really going to have to change very dramatically in the how we offer it. And it's going to change dramatically really fast. So there are going to be changes that have to be implemented like year by year. That's going to be different, and probably you're going to look back 3 years from now and say, well, it was never like that when I was a student, because we had to make those changes. You asked me like, what will that look like? I don't exactly know. I think inverting that Bloom's taxonomy is a really good place to start for faculty to think critically about the education we offer and where our students. Because when you're a teacher, you can't just put the cookies on the top shelf. You have to create accessibility to the education that you want to offer. If you think about music education.
Mm-hmm.
AI is not going to do your scales for you. It's not going to do practice time for you. You're not going to get anywhere
Mm-hmm.
in your music if you just want AI to do it for you. You could learn about music.
Mm-hmm.
So another example might be, you have AI write a sermon for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be kind of canned. It's not going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think probably there's quite a few communicators out there who could take the bones of an AI outline or sermon and could make that really work for people, and then God could use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that is completely unethical to do.
Mm-hmm.
It short circuits the process of preaching, and you could be a purist and say, no, we should never do that. However, if you freed up your time and didn't have to spend 20 hours a week on a sermon, then maybe you could connect with people more face to face. You go spend actually time with people in relationship. And I think that's what education will start to look like, is a lot of close connections with faculty, a lot of meetings, a lot of time spent with faculty, nurturing and guiding students in their educational path, and then also in their use of AI to learn and grow.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I use AI to learn and grow every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But, kind of my generation is one that had to adapt to the computer, the internet, the smartphone, now AI. So, like, we've been adapting for 50 years. This whole generation is just, like, immersed into a culture where they haven't had to adapt. They're just kind of digital natives.
Yes.
I call them feral. If you look at grade school kids running around at a Friday night football game, they're glued to their phones and they're feral. They're just like wild animals running around.
Yeah. That the way you describe that, I think, is perfect. Like you are adapting to something, not necessarily being submersed and being formed by that thing.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, and it's a struggle, I think, with people who, especially like our generation, is just growing up in social media and technology, and like this is just such a natural thing. So it's so easy to just submerge into and just be like, yep, I'm used to it. Let's just give it a go. So I want to pivot to something different. And we can still talk about AI if this is part of it. But so I had you as a professor, and you're still teaching some classes, but you've moved into this provost position, and so I know there's some things that you're working on in regards to like the goals of the university and academics and what this position entails. Is there anything that you're like are like first primary hopes and plans that you're looking forward to that you can share with us?
Yeah, I'll try. I work for the president. That's my primary report, and I lead the team of academics, including the faculty and the academic administration, including online faculty. So there's a lot of oversight. It's very, very complex. But one of the main things that the professor has asked me to do, let's fix that. One of the main things that the president has asked me to do is to look at our financial efficiency.
Yeah.
Because you hear all the time about colleges, and specifically small Christian colleges, closing. Just this week, it was Trinity College in just suburbs of Chicago, and Trinity Christian College. And so, they were a large institution with 70 plus programs, and they're closing their doors at the end of this year. So we look at that and think, okay, how do we as an institution be financially efficient? And that has to do with the programs that we offer. It has to do with how many students are enrolled to those programs. It has to do with what's the class size. And we love having a small class size, but you do get to a class size that's not efficient financially for you to keep running those small classes with only 3 or 4 people. So that's one of my primary goals, is to make sure that we are running tight efficiencies, because that's essential for our survival as an institution. That's like maybe the least exciting thing that I have to do. And also it's the thing, if you want to pray for me in my work, like that's probably the hardest thing for me to do, because it is so complex. The second thing is to make sure that we are in addition to all this AI stuff, which I think is important, but it doesn't quite make the top of the list. We want to make sure that our education is biblically integrated. And what does that mean? It's like we want a biblical perspective in every single subject, not just that you take 30 credits of Bible and theology classes, but that every class that you have has a meaningful integration of a biblical perspective. That's our distinguishing, that's our brand. That's why people come here. We like to think that's why people come here.
Yeah.
People come to college for a lot of reasons, but they come to our university for biblical integration. That's who we are. And so making sure that that's happening across all of our curriculum, especially arts and sciences curriculum or professional majors that aren't necessarily Bible or ministry majors, making sure students get that very like saturated biblical experience.
Sure. Do you have anything like that's like a future plan that like is in the works that we can like kind of like you're getting excited about? You're like, this is a huge project that, you know, it's like a big dream, but we're not there quite yet. Is there anything coming up in that regard, or?
I would love to say yes, but I don't. I'm thinking I have a whiteboard in my office where I've got like everything that I'm working on. I'm trying to say, what's the big dream? What's the big dream? Well, honestly, I would say that the big dream is somehow like getting on top of this like AI wave.
Okay.
Like, I really feel that if we don't make ourselves like really meaningful and transformational, biblical integration is part of that. But the relationships that people have when they're here, kind of the grace experience, if we don't get ahead or at least get onto the wave of AI, then we're gonna lose. I don't want to be like apocalyptic or pessimistic about the future. That's really not who I am. But I really, because I have kids, and are they going to go to college? I don't know. Like, I don't know if college will be a thing 6 or 7 years from now for anyone. It's not just does Grace Christian University survive. It's more like, does the proposition of college still work after AI is fully integrated into society? And I don't know what that means necessarily, but if Grace Christian University is going to like thrive and grow and be like fulfilling its mission 5 or 6 years from now, we have to get ahead on AI.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any like I guess advice for students and how I guess the students here on campus at Grace? Because I mean, there's the bigger picture of like just students across the country and part of universities, but I guess our immediate community and probably most of the people who will be listening, like, how can they get on board with that process and that change?
Yeah, we try to do a lot with Stephanie knows this, like the practices of Jesus. Like we have spiritual formation classes, and we're trying to integrate a discipleship approach in Bible and theology classes, in our chapels, in upper division, like spiritual formation classes. You really need to have time where you just put the phone away. Like you just need to like put it to bed. Babysit your phone, like go put it in another room, where, and I would say the purpose of that is to have real relationship, not a digitally mediated relationship. I think that digital mediated relationships are great. Like I have a mentor that I chat with every 2 weeks. It's a digital connection. It's a Zoom call. We use Facebook Messenger, so you could use like the little like emojis and masks and stuff. That's just kind of what we've done. It's not a big deal. How you do it. So I think like the digital gives us real communication that's valuable that you wouldn't have. Texting. I can text with my daughter in college. I can text with my son in high school. Like I can have those meaningful connections through the technology, but you have to have those relationships apart from the technology as well. I don't include like your relationship with God in that. So that you can, like, it's great that you have a Bible app. It's great that you have a daily devotion on your app. It's great that you have, like I do, I play Versal, which is like the Bible verse version of Wordle. You should try it. Shout out to Versal. It's so much fun. So much fun. Only I'm terrible. Like I Like I fail at it, and it's
Yeah.
like shocking.
Yeah.
It's a hard game.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and if you're like a Bible person, you should be playing Versal.
We get sponsored.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Versal.
Yeah.
You give it a little like
Yeah.
thing can come up right there. Link to Versal in the show notes.
Yeah.
But you have to have time with the Lord that is away from all of that.
Yeah.
So that, and it's like some of it's neurological, some of it's physiological, blue light, like reading text in the dark. Like you don't need to be doing that for your body. To wake up and reach for your phone first thing is not good for you. You should wake up and go outside or make a cup of coffee or have a glass of water. Like you should do human things that are not dependent on technology. Just like when you're camping, right? You just wake up and you go outside, you stretch, and you feel great. When you're outside, you don't need that digital communication to be human or to have a real meaningful relationship with someone.
Yeah. And we've been working on trying to like do that in like
Yes,
chapels
unplug.
and like and also with you like working as an RA
Yeah.
with like the worship and bonfire events and just creating opportunities.
Real community.
I found that like a lot of students crave that,
Yeah.
but they want to do it on their own. Like they seek after peer-led gatherings and
It has to be more organic.
yeah,
Yes,
it has to be
as
organic.
opposed- yeah.
Can't just be forced on them.
Well,
you
let
know?
me speak to that because I think there's something to that. But also, this is the challenge to the students who are listening. Like, you need help. It's okay. Like when my son was 10 years old and he was in Boy Scouts, one of the things they kept coming back to was like, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
If it's hard for you to do something, ask for help. And so from the time he was 10 years old and now he's 16 and he's still sometimes he'll say, Dad, can I have some help? He learned that as a 10-year-old. So if you like actually struggle as a student to put the device down, maybe you need some help.
Yeah.
Like do an event that's intentionally unplugged so that you can get some practice.
Yeah.
Like the training wheels are on, so that you can like get some experience of what it's like because there's real anxiety. We're so cybernetic. Like I've even noticed with my phone, because I use it for work all the time and I'm texting and I'm like watching a YouTube video and I'm listening to a podcast at the same time. Like I'm so connected all the time that you do feel a little bit like not yourself or naked when you don't have that device physically connected to you. And it's good to not have that. Yeah. Even if it's just for 15 minutes at a time for a walk or something.
Yeah. It's like so simple.
Yeah.
But like we don't want to like accept that to some degree.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna end with this, and this might be an even bigger question that's being popped up. But so our mission statement is to graduate courageous ambassadors, right? And however you want to define courageous ambassadors, that's kind of like the goal of like our university and what we're trying to bring students out from. So with that, the complications of AI and challenges and just personal life, culture, how does a listener, how does a student become this courageous ambassador in their context that they're going to be going out into, whether it's from the classroom into the church, into their workplaces, into their daily lives? Is there anything like, I know it's a bigger question, but is there any advice that you can give to students?
This is the Courageous Ambassador podcast question.
It is.
Like, this is
we always ask a question close to this at the end. So,
well, let me start by saying this. When we first came up with the language of Courageous Ambassador as a university, it's great. I love it. I think it's rooted in 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians 5. Like that's historically a passage that's important to our institution and to our fellowship of churches. I think it's awesome. So it's perfect. The one problem is that it's a little hard to define. And I said that at the time. I said, do we know what a courageous ambassador looks like? Because we can tell these hundreds of students, we want you to be a courageous ambassador, but if you don't know what, again, it comes back to what you're aiming at. If you don't know what you're aiming at, you don't know what needs to change or get better.
Yeah.
So here's what I would suggest is I challenge students sometimes in my ethics class to imagine a future version of themselves. This is actually very, very hard for 18, 19, 20-year-olds to do. It gets easier as you get older, but because of how high speed the society is, it's very difficult to imagine where you'll be further than 6 months from now. So Stephanie, you know where you're going to be a year from now?
I'd like to think so, but I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's hard.
There's a few.
It's hard to know, and then
Yeah.
things could change, right? So you have to keep your options open. However, you can say, here's the kind of person that I want to become. And we know that courageous ambassadorship looks like becoming more like Christ. And so I always want to be aiming at becoming more like Christ in my character, my actions, my priorities. You know, whether you become a movie star and you have to decide what movies you're going to be in. Whether you're going to go into business and whether you're going to make $1 million. I just saw an interview with Francis Chan where he said, like, I asked God not to make me rich. I don't know if Francis Chan is rich. Maybe my definition, but
right.
You know, compared to other Christians like Dude Perfect who are out there, they're Christians, but they're making millions and millions of dollars. And what do they do with that? I mean, that's again for them to work out with the Lord, but would our students be courageous ambassadors no matter what happens in their work and in their personal life? Kind of come up with some goals. What do you want to aim at? Like list 5 goals where you want to be 5 years from now. If that's married, if that's children, if that's a job, if that's, you know, how do you want to be serving the Lord? Begin to envision that and kind of visualize what will that look like for you. And then, sorry, can you restate the second half of your question? Because it's kind of a big question.
Yeah, it was a very big question. How can listeners who are listening envision or take on this idea of being a courageous ambassador in the classroom, workplace, church, the part of their life that we're sending them off to as we equip them?
Yeah, I would say you want to make sure that you have a strong community around you. That could be your college friends, but it's hard to maintain those relationships of your college friends once everybody goes their separate directions. Because you could be on the other side of the country, and then like, what's the tightness of that connection, that close community? So one of the things that we really like to emphasize here at Grace Christian is we want you to be involved in a local church. We want you to be connected with a group of believers who are not just college age. They're not just the cool kids. They're not just the people that you would prefer to hang out with, but they're old people and little kids and people with like coughs and sneezes in church, like real people who are really going through life. And you want to be part of a strong, multi-generational church so that you learn what it means to be Christian, not just in your generation, but through the generations. And you're passing something on to the next generation. The culture, youth culture, social media culture is not pro age. It's not pro old people. Old people are ridiculous and in the way. And youth culture is not children friendly. Because you don't want to have children. They will inconvenience you. They will cost you money. How are you going to live? How are you going to buy a house? Children are a problem. And so, like, in the middle of that is your listener right now saying, well, old people are a problem and children are a problem. How do you avoid living life just for yourself? Which is what the gospel is all about. It's about like giving yourself away in Christ-like service to the world. Being an ambassador to the world, you got to embrace both ends of that scale of human life. And I think God will bless that. God will bless you if you get married young. God will bless you if you have children young. God will bless you if you're involved with multiple generations. So have that strong community that can kind of be a base or a staging ground for you to go out and be that courageous ambassador. You can't try to do that on your own. Because then the world will swallow you up.
That's a great way to end this. It sounds like what you're saying is know who you're becoming, and being part of a gospel-centered community that's going to help shape a overview of what life looks like from young to old to whatever stage in life and culture that you're facing, whatever it is, right?
You said that a lot more nicely than I did.
Well, I was collecting what you were saying, and it was like thinking about, like ChatGPT, I was condensing it.
That's why you're the host, Dan.
Try my best. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Loverin. This was a great
Yes.
conversation. We kind of hit everything, so
Thanks for having me.
yeah, we really greatly appreciate it.
Good to be here.